What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Sessions with the Rich Podcast, guys. This platform is designed to challenge your beliefs and we're going to elevate your consciousness. If you're new to the show, welcome. Episodes are dropped every Sunday. You can find me on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all streaming platforms and previous episodes. Please leave reviews and ratings. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you have any questions for future co-hosts, let me know. Now, on today's episode, guys, I have the author, podcaster, and Heyoka thinker who embraces the now. Conrad, bro, welcome to the fucking show, man.
Thank you. Thanks, man. And you know what? I got a bone to pick with you real quick.
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah. So I was, I was listening to a few of your episodes trying to, and then I thought I saw some tweets where you're saying where you're an author. So
Bro.
I spent like an hour looking for your book. And then it was episode 59 with Karen Mosier towards the end, where you just announced the title of it. So is it not out yet?
It's not out yet, bro.
Okay.
It's not out yet.
I was searching into the void for what's not there yet.
Hey, I appreciate you. No, so I'm still I channeled the information. I was tripping on like shrooms one day.
Nice.
And I channeled the name of the book. And then I want to say like a year later, I was talking to a medium. And she was just like, activating certain DNA in me. And then I'm just started like downloading all these messages and like, you're supposed to drop a book this summer. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I guess I'm doing it. So I'm writing it right now. Should be out end of July, August, definitely this summer. Nice. I'm just a perfectionist, man, until I get this shit, done tap. But for those who don't know about you, Conrad, man, I know you have a podcast of your own. It's Conrad, right?
Yeah, it's just called Conrad.
Conrad, man, self-explain. And you're an author. So let us know what you got going on, bro.
So I've written one book that's out. It's called Lucid Sacred Dreams. It's a story of my personal awakening. And it's also, the way I describe it, anytime anyone asks, I finally figured out how to answer this question, is I view it as a Rorschach test.
Okay.
For the person that's on the awakening journey. Because you're going to read the story and you're going to start questioning, wait, did this really happen? Did this not happen?
Right.
And depending on where you're at in your own personal journey, you're going to be more accepting of certain things versus others. Yep. So as the writer, it is a memoir, but it's also a story. And I leave it up to the reader to decide what is versus isn't.
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope. So from author to author, man, what birthed the idea?
It's just about tapping into my creative truth.
Yeah.
And, I believe everyone out there has a creative ability, skill, and a part of my awakening process, my own personal journey was tapping back into skills and talents and abilities that I had been not, taking part in, not using. Yeah. And, so it was a long time coming. The book itself took about 4 months to write, I'd say, start to finish, and then
that's crazy.
Editing, publishing, and all that stuff. But it was my lifetime put on paper for the world to see. And the beautiful part about writing a book, man, and you're gonna learn this, is when you finish that first book, you release it to the universe. Now it's theirs. It's no longer yours.
Crazy.
You can just move on to the next thing, and you just keep pushing, and you keep creating. And as creative beings, isn't that why we're here? Is to keep see where we can take it. That's my perspective, anyways.
That's so true, man. Because if you like, it's just another creation that we're putting out there, and like you said, it's not ours anymore. It's to the collective, and now it's like, okay, shit. What do I want to create next? What do I want to manifest next?
Yes. And I think it's with everything, not just creativity, like writing a book or music. Yeah. It's even thought structures, right? Because there's a lot of smart people out there who have amazing thoughts. And it's like, but if you stay stuck in that one thought, even if it's a great thought, it's like that music. There's like that band that 40 years later, they're still playing that one hit wonder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're just like, we do it because it gives us money. My challenge to everyone is to keep pushing your consciousness, keep pushing forward, see where else you can take it. Yes, you're going to have beautiful thoughts along the way that resonate and stick and reach out to other people, but that's not the finality for you. If you're still breathing here, there's something else next. Keep pushing. Let's see where it goes.
Ooh, I love that. So talk us about, you on episode, I think I saw 89 or 90?
Yeah, I just released 91 like 15 minutes before we came out.
This is perfect timing. Let's go. So damn, man, you on episode 91. That's wild. What made you even want to start the podcast journey? Do you release episodes like once a week? Like walk us through that.
It's not, I don't have a solid format. I
Okay.
try to do about 5 to 6 a month
Okay.
usually. Doesn't always happen, but that's usually the ballpark range I shoot for personally. And it was, I started podcasting actually when I was starting to write my book, and I was just
That's
using it as
crazy.
a form to just kind of talk about the process
Hmm.
of writing my book and like what it was like trying to be creative and stuff like that. And then it just kind of morphed into what it is now. And it really took off when I decided to say, "Well, all right, I know there's other people that are going through similar things that I'm going through.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of shy people out there. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't feel like there's platforms out there for these
Hmm.
types of conversations. So
Yep.
why am I not having these conversations with other people?"
So true.
And that's when it kind of took off, and that's when it's just slowly and steadily has grown more and more. And I'm thankful for every single listener, and I'm thankful for people that listen and decide they don't like it either. It's fine. I'm
Yeah.
here doing what I'm supposed to do,
Exactly.
and it's not for everyone, but it is for many. And I think it grows every day because more and more people are starting to waken up to their personal truth that the world that we've
Yeah.
been sold isn't what we thought it was.
Bro, have you noticed, especially a lot in like past, like last year, especially in 2020, a lot of awakenings have happened. And I think it's really important what like we're doing and our other counterparts on Twitter are doing. I noticed
Yeah.
a lot of people dropping podcasts, a lot of people
Yeah.
dropping content. Like we are the news that the collective needs to
Right.
navigate this matrix. It's
Right.
important what we're doing right now.
What's interesting about that is I think everyone, ourselves included, will all circle back to the same position of
Hmm.
that, the answers are within.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting perspective because it's like, yes, I love people listening, and please keep listening to me, but ultimately understand that I am not the authority figure in your life. I am not
Right.
your hero. I am not your savior. I am nothing
Right.
like that. I am not your guru. I think the age of the
Right.
guru is dead. I'm just a voice in the wilderness that if you take something from it, congratulations, that's great, awesome. But what are you doing for yourself to push yourself forward? And that's a different way of approaching it because it's really
Oh,
easy, with entertainment and stuff like
yeah.
that. It's like, all right, I want to become the voice that people go to for the
Right.
answers. And I'm here to reject that. I don't like that. we,
Easy.
we had enough of that.
Reject the programming that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
How have you so wait, when did you have your spiritual awakening? Because you're very wise as well, bro. I'm keeping a lot
Well,
of
I
lot of
appreciate
your
that.
messages, man.
I was a senior in high school in 2001,
Okay.
aka September 11th, right? But it was shortly after that. It wasn't too long for me to start to realize that,
Mm.
there is a nefarious thing that is happening through the course of history that is the
Right.
narrative that we have to embrace and be in fear of and all that stuff, right? But it wasn't really until I'd say about 3-ish to 4 years ago. So we're talking, I don't know, 19 years later, no, like 15 years later after that, that I really was like, okay, it's not just that the world is a lie, but there's also something else going on here in terms of my own spiritual journey, in
Right.
terms of the multidimensional nature of reality and
Yeah.
things of that nature. So it's really been the last, I'd say around 3 to 4-ish years that it
That's
really
so cool.
like the full thing kind of really began for
Yeah.
me personally. Yeah.
That's
But
so
every day I learn
wild.
something new, every day I learn something
See? Bro, it's always so what I'm learning in spiritual experience, man. It's always an awakening. We're always because I don't call it well, I call it remembering. So like
new. Right.
if we're retapping into our gifts
Mm,
or just the idea of us being the creator of our individual realities. We all
yeah.
know this before coming here. We just, went through some amnesia shit.
Right.
And then you gotta kind of remember yourself as God in the God dream.
Yeah.
But have you when you first I guess grasp the idea of you being a creator. Did you struggle with the notion of like shit, everything is me. I'm accountable for every fucking thing I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like that dark night of the soul. It's a scary
Yeah.
thing, in the tarot, the tower
Yeah.
burns down. It's like that. It's that. I think it's Alan Watts when
Love
he taught.
Alan Watts.
Yeah, he's the man, right? It's
Love
like
Alan Watts.
step one, go on YouTube, find Alan Watts,
Yeah.
have mind blown, think about it, and then yeah.
That was my first step when I had my spiritual awakening. I feel like everybody's spiritual awakening happens from like some heartbreak or some like suffering
Mm,
shit. But mine happened for some heartbreak. And
yeah,
then I went down to YouTube rabbit hole, synchronicity numbers, and oh, are you having a spiritual awakening? Click on this video. It's like,
right,
fuck, I guess
right.
I am. Like, what the
That's
fuck?
you brought up a good point about heartbreak. I everyone I've talked to, and myself included, it's that moment of literal, it's like a literal death, even though you're still alive. And
Bro.
it's like you're back at a baseline of zero, and it's like your brain is
Yeah.
broken. And then, but then it's a scary moment, but then it's a freedom, because to go back
Mm-hmm.
to why I brought up Alan Watts in the first place, he's like, what a beautiful thing it is to
Mm-hmm.
be free falling and to
Ooh,
no longer have to rely on these hard granite rocks that we rely on
damn.
for our understanding of truth. It's
Right.
like water is free flowing. When you get into stagnant water, that's when it gets diseased, that's when it gets all
Right.
the bugs in it, that's when it gets dirty, that's when it gets undrinkable. And if we're
Right.
like water, we're supposed to keep flowing. But when you get stuck, which is where I started with earlier, even if
Okay.
it's stuck in good stuff,
Mhm.
it's like, no, keep pushing, keep going,
Keep
keep
pushing.
flowing. Yeah, absolutely.
You made me think. So with the whole water analogy, are you familiar with the row your boat like
Yeah,
melody? That's all they're talking about. Life is but a dream. Just
yeah,
surrender and flow down a little stream.
yeah,
When you resist is when you get carried away in all different directions. But when you can just observe whatever is going on from a standpoint of, okay, what is this teaching me,
yeah,
or what am I mirroring, what am I vibrating, because there's no coincidences in the matrix, right?
yeah,
Especially
yeah.
as the more you become aware of yourself and everybody around you, you really gotta hold yourself accountable. Why did I attract that shitty partner, or why am I attracting this lackful mindset? I mean, lackful mindset, and it's because you have that lackful mindset, right?
Yeah.
And it's important for what we're doing just to get people to the basics of understanding. Like, you can play victim all day, but
Yeah.
where's the solution? I'm solution oriented. What new reality are we creating? Because I don't have time for the pity party shit. I'm not doing that.
Well, what's funny about that? The pity party, but that's wrapped in fear, right?
That is
And
fear.
and my personal experience with fear is the knowledge and the teaching that I've gained from my own experience, and it's pretty obvious to me in retrospect. When you look back, it's like, oh, the moments when I gave in to fear are the
Yeah.
moments things didn't play out how I would have preferred. And even when I fail in life, but if I don't come into it with the mindset of
Yeah.
fear, my understanding of that moment is still through the spectrum. It
Yep.
transforms into the spectrum of a teaching moment. It's
Yep.
like, what can I learn here, even though I'm falling short of my expectations for this
Mm-hmm.
moment? And then you
Mm-hmm.
get into like release all expectations, and then you really start flowing. You know what I mean?
That's so true. That's so true. So okay. So fear. I'm noticing a lot now. Fear comes in all forms, right? You got
Yeah,
it from programming of a child. Your parents telling you can't do this, or even family members or your siblings. Then
yeah,
you have fear from the media, which is mind control and mind programming. So I really feel for the souls who are like really wrapped in this COVID shit. I call it the
yeah,
pandemic.
yeah.
Because I sympathize for you, because the fear is so strong that your reality is now shaping that narration. And
Right,
until you accept something that's different, that's all you're gonna know. And
right,
then I have sympathy for you, because I can't
right.
tell you anything different.
Well, it's an interesting topic, because even moving past the initial narrative of COVID, now we're into the vaccine stage of COVID, right?
Yo.
And that now you're tapping into the fear narratives that the awakened side, quote unquote, the awakened are aware of, that the
Mm-hmm.
vaccine is gonna is the game changer, is the end of the world, and that's a controversial figure right now.
It
Now,
is, man.
me personally, I won't take it, simply because
I get it.
even if it was like the narrative states that it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just the fact that they're trying to make it a forced thing, like
Bro,
just
and
in
all
the
these incentives too. If you offer
right.
me a slice of pizza to get this shit, I'm sorry, that's a mock.
I know. But
What?
just the fact that, like, just from like a freedom perspective, the
Yeah,
fact that they want us to take it, I don't care if it's nothing or if it's
right.
everything or if it's whatever. Just on that, like, just the fact that they want to make that a standard for becoming like what it means to be a human, I can't do that. So
Bro,
just on
that's
principle alone, I can't.
fucking
Now,
wild.
think about it. But then you get into the controversy, and this is where you see a lot of those Twitter feuds,
Yeah,
where the people who want to say that it's just pure placebo, it's
right.
all in your head, and then you have the people that are saying that's nonsense. That it is it's a killer, or it's a diseaser, and I don't know where the truth is. It's probably somewhere in the
Right.
middle. It's probably somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in the middle. But here's what I do know. right? It's not our responsibility to force judge or tell others what is from your personal perspective. That's just
Right.
that's how I'm seeing it, because it's another divide and conquer tactic. We're
It
all
is not the
adults.
divide and
We're
conquer
all
tactic.
adults.
Right.
So if you're going to go on to Twitter and you're going to see somebody say this thing is placebo, and then you as an adult are just going to turn them into an archetype idol hero worship and take their word as is, that's on you as an adult. So it's
That
the same
is,
game as play. It's that same thing over and
yeah.
over and over again. It's just Albert Pike. We provide both the villains and the heroes.
That's a
You know what
look.
I mean?
Because it kind of reminds me of what Alan Watts said. Like, this is all just a play, and you have
Yeah.
like your good and bad guys essentially. So everyone, the crazy part is everyone's telling the truth. So if you believe it's a placebo, then your reality, that vaccine is a placebo. But bro, I've been noticing. So are you into timelines and shit and like shifting
Sure.
parallel realities?
Absolutely.
So I've noticed a lot in my reality. So I don't go anywhere without a mask now. Like, I
Yeah.
just leave it in my house now. Before, I would keep it in my pocket just in case, like that random moment.
Yeah.
But I just keep it in the house. And since I've embodied that vibration, if I'm going to the store anywhere, I just walk in, and
Right.
the mask police don't say nothing. I'm like, shit, this is a vibration. If I'm operating from I gotta wear this mask, then my experience is gonna reflect that. I'm like, shit, I should have did this a long fucking time ago, man. We shifting timelines right now. The fuck?
I mean, I really think there's something to that. It's a hard concept to grasp, and anyone out there who wants to reject it, well, it's your choice to reject that concept, and then now you're embracing a timeline where that's a rejected thought and not real.
Yeah.
So it's cool, and I think that's where people get a little they can get a little angry sometimes,
Yeah.
because it goes back to other people wanting to place their personal narrative onto you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's sloppy. And again, even if you're quote unquote right, what's more important? What's more important, being right or being loved? That's where my mind's been at lately.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like I've, I'm guilty of it. All right. I can only
Mhm.
look in the mirror and understand that these are reflections of my own reality and lessons
Right.
I've had to learn for myself. But it's like, how many people have I pissed off or lost out of my life because I wanted to be right in a
Damn.
moment? And for what? Just so I could
Yeah.
feel superior for a moment? That's
Yeah.
ego. That's
It's
nonsense. That's
ego.
garbage,
Right. Damn, that makes okay, damn. So is this message I'm relaying a place of ego, or is it at a place of love with my message?
Yeah.
Damn,
I
that's
think that's a good
interesting.
question. It's a good starting point for me, anyways. It's helped me really like reach a place more often than not of neutrality and not getting caught
Mm,
up in the moment. Going back to fear for a second, for me, fear isn't denying that there's negative things happening
right.
in the world. Fear to, getting rid of that fear narrative and the inside for me it's similar to like, it's not about being the eye in the middle of the storm.
Yeah,
It's like, what if you can exist in a realm where it's a
bro,
storm constantly, and yet
bro.
you're at peace,
Exactly.
even in the storm. And I look at
Mhm.
Tibetan monks. I think they're a good example. I think they're a good visualization. They've been, tortured, massacred, dominated, controlled by the communist China Party
Mhm.
for decades, if not hundreds of years on end. Yet they're
Mhm.
supposed to be the one of the more enlightened beings, quote
Yeah.
unquote, on the planet. So it's like they've embraced the storm and they stand true to where they're at, and they don't let the fact that there's this domineering external cultural societal narrative domineering them
Yeah.
take them away from their state of being, from that zen state. Just something to
Wow.
consider.
That's so beautiful, because if you allow those things to, I guess, like hinder your vibration, then you're screwed. You have
Yeah.
to you got to care about how you feel at all times, no
Yeah.
matter what even if you have to tell somebody like, I don't want to talk right now, or
Yeah.
if it may seem rude, but you have to protect your energy at all times.
Yeah, and I guess the worst thing that they can do to us is kill us, right? And I'm not trying to die today. I'm not trying to
Right. I
die
don't want
tomorrow,
to.
but at the same time, I recognize that death isn't the end.
Right.
Death might be the greatest trick illusion of this place, and I probably believe that it is.
Yeah.
I view myself as an infinite creature of forever, so this is a
Hmm.
momentary experience. I'm not
Same.
Conrad. As much as I
Same.
am Conrad right
Right.
now, for whatever reason, the infinite awareness of myself is like, you're going to be this Conrad
Right.
fool for a few years and play it out
That's
and learn
so
some lessons
wild,
along the
bro.
way, but this isn't it. This isn't the end.
That's so fucking wild, man. Just think that we're experiencing this body for a short time,
Right.
contributing to the grid, and then we
Yeah.
dip an ass back out of it. That's fucking wild. That is fucking wild, bro. I'll
It's a
have
cool
moments
thought.
like that when I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
I'll catch myself, taking the Matrix a bit seriously, and I got to take a step back and like, why am I taking this dream seriously? And if I'm taking it seriously, I'm not having fun, and I'm out of the source state of like this bliss and creation. What the fuck am I doing?
And just to go back to the fact that you're about to publish a book, you're gonna see another interesting thing when you publish that book, because you're gonna see that whatever you wrote in there, it starts to happen.
Bro, that's wild, man.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to check out my book, you're gonna be like, oh, now this was published in 2019. You're gonna be like, oh, that was 2020. Like, but that shouldn't be the case. You see what I'm saying? So it is. There's that old I forget the movie what it's called, but it had like Will Ferrell. It's one of his very few serious roles, and in it he's there's an author out there that's writing this best-selling book in real time, and he learns that he's the character in that book. It's a pretty cool movie.
What if because writing is just manifesting, right?
That's what I'm talking about. You're Mr. Manifest, so watch out,
bro. Because I'm really big on scripting, so
yeah,
I'm really big on manifestation, and I'm noticing a lot of people Well, I want to kind of go back to the book thing because we're going to go all over. So back to the book though, because I kind of ramble on in these podcast episodes. So that's what the book, like you mentioned, it's interesting because you were relaying a message to the collective that manifested in real time, and so now that they're seeing it, they're like, shit, I need to go back and read Conrad's book to see what I need to do next.
I think it reaches the people it's supposed to reach, and it connects with the people that are supposed to be connected by. We all have our little part in this play. So anyone who's taken anything from it, that's a blessing to me. But ultimately, the actual act of writing it, it's just like anything in life with lessons and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
It just comes down to like, oh, this was really like the greatest person to take something from this is me. So you're going to take the most lessons from your book, and that's beautiful. And that's a great thing.
And it's healing too, right? It's healing and therapeutic. Because fuck it. Well, they know if they listen to the last episode. My book is called The Book of Why. Probably by the time this drops, my book's already up. Not sure. We're going to see how this shit plays. But my whole purpose of it is just giving you a blueprint of self so that when you come back time and time again, you wake up faster. That's my whole purpose. So if I do decide to come back in this body, which I hope I don't, I want to find my book. Now I will find my book, and it's going to wake me up faster. So that's the whole purpose. But I'm noticing, because it's kind of like it's our responsibility. Like, from listening to Alan Watts content or Abraham Hicks or Napoleon Hill or Joseph Murphy, all those guys who gave us the codes to remember who we are. It's our responsibility to give that back to the collective. Otherwise, what's the point of learning all this knowledge and experiences?
Yeah, I love that concept. And when you go with the idea of reincarnation, incarnations, and this spiral of consciousness, I have this theory about ego, that what ego wants to do is keep whatever beautiful talents you have on the inside for itself. Ooh. Which is why you get filled up with don't go on stage to perform because people aren't going to like you. But that's ego wanting to keep you in the closet, afraid, because those are your talents that are meant for the world. Now, what's the reverse of that? Are you given to flow and you do your performance, you play the drums, you paint the picture, you write the book, whatever it is, anyone listening out there that you feel creatively called to do, you actually do it, right? Then somebody out there, all right, you don't know if it's one, you don't know if it's a million, whatever it is, gets blessed by it, gets inspired by it. And then it lifts up their conscious creative ability too. And then the call goes out to them to carry on that creative truth message. Now, here's where it gets wild, right? You ever feel like you read something in the past, or you listen to something in the past or whatever, maybe this person's dead. Yeah. And it's almost like that was you, right?
Bro.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you go into the idea of reincarnation, there's a very good chance that maybe there was somebody out there in the past that motivated Alan Watts to do what he did, right? And who knows, maybe in a past life, that person that influenced Alan Watts was actually you. So it's you feeding yourself, it's us feeding each other, and it's the spiral of consciousness lifting itself back up until we all go back, into source or whatever you want to call it. That's how I look at it.
Damn, bro, you can't drop a mind fuck like that, man. I gotta sit on that thought because that makes so much fucking sense.
Right.
Because have you noticed some content you view, it's just it hits different, man. It's just like this, I feel this shit in my soul.
Yeah.
And now you got me thinking, damn, did I give the encouragement, that I give the thought, was I part of the narration process? And then damn, Conrad, and then you come into this experience, you find whatever the fuck it was, you're meant to find it because damn, that's your life's work that you're damn, Conrad. I like that. God, oh shit.
And here's
I like that.
and here's the inverse of that. When you choose not to be an active participant in that most beautiful thing of the consciousness spiral of forever working its way back up to source, when you decide to go back into that closet of fear, you embrace your ego saying, just keep this for me. And then you don't get to participate in what could possibly be the most beautiful aspect of experiencing linear time.
Whoa. Damn. This is a mind fuck. This is a fucking, because think about it, bro. You got me thinking too, man. Like,
good
people withhold information. Like, think about it. Before The Secret came out, people hold this information themselves. Power beat, they understand we're powerful creators, and if you program the subconscious, it creates your shit. Now it's a bit more mainstream, but people limit what they can experience. Oh, I can manifest this, but I can't manifest that. It's a limit. It's like, there's no limit, bro. You can manifest anything you want. Anything. You manifest it unconsciously, you might as well do it consciously and just move with intention.
Right. And that's, and then when you start to look at the idea of secret societies and withholding knowledge, and I understand that there's a time period when the church, quote unquote, if we are to trust history, forced people to create secret societies so that they could have these conversations that we're having now, right? Because they would die, right? But that time is come and gone. So the fact that these societies are still operating under that paradigm where they think they have a secret the masses can't handle, now they've dropped the ball. And that's assuming that they're genuine at all. Obviously, I have different opinions on who's and who doing what and all that stuff, right? But it's like, no. We're into this era, this beautiful communication era where we all have something to offer up. And it's here, so there's no reason to keep it in the shadows. If you're keeping it in the shadows on a mass social scale because you want to keep it in your little group and your little crew, that time has come and gone. That's nonsense. We're here to set each other free. Most importantly, we're here to set ourselves free. And together, we're going to create something new that has not been seen, at least in a long while. Maybe it's how Earth used to be. I don't know, but I do know this: that the world I was born into is not the world I want to. 100%. I don't want to die.
100%. Because I'm realizing you have to, as cliche as the saying is, the world mirrors you, is so fucking true. If you, like me and you, were very conscious of what we're creating for our reality, but then that trickles into the entire experience. I was listening to Kara. She had Kelsey on her podcast.
Kara Mosier.
Yeah,
Kelsey love Kara. Yeah, they're two great people.
Fucking love Kara and Kelsey. So Kelsey was on Kara's podcast, and Kara had mentioned something about, I've always had the thought that we're in a dome. But Kara she was channeling the message. She said that each and every one of us have our own individual dome. And I'm like, fuck, that makes so much sense, bro. Because it's our individual reality. So that makes sense.
Right.
But then when we, like, for example, me and you right now, our domes are connected right now because we're co-creating this moment right now.
Right.
So our reality, this whole shit is mind-boggling. Kara, if you're listening to this, you completely blown my mind.
And isn't it funny that this conversation that we're having right now, the idea of the religions that we were we're manifested in this world, and there's these certain constructs of politics, religion, societal, economic policies, all that stuff is designed to stop conversations like this from happening. Ooh. Right. When and that's why I always say keep pushing, because it's very easy, you can very quickly become another quote unquote gatekeeper where it's like, no, stop here, this is enough. And I'm under the impression that you just keep going.
You keep going, bro. You keep, because there's no I just feel like you just understand it from a different perspective,
right?
And it kind of like it sinks in deeper,
right?
Because before I would trip on psychedelics a lot. I do it periodically, but before I was into acid really heavy, and then just channeling yourself as source. And I remember one time, bro, I got booted out my session. I the voice came and said, you, what the fuck did the voice, my higher self said? It said, you keep coming back asking the same questions. You don't need anything else. And I got booted out. I'm in the middle of downtown, bro. I live in Chicago. I'm in the middle of downtown. I was tripping, bro.
Right.
And I got booted. My trip didn't last for more than 10 minutes. And I got booted. And I'm just sitting there like, fuck. And it made me think like, you already know that you're consciousness. You already know that you're the creator. And you keep asking the same questions, coming back to the same, same endpoint. So it's like, you have the information. Now the only point is just to create.
Right.
Otherwise, you just keep going back in a circle.
And that's I feel like that's the trick of this place. It's like, convince you to not create, convince you to fall in line, convince you that a mortgage with the 9 to 5, that's all there's. And shout out to anyone that has a mortgage, shout out to anyone that has a 9 to 5. I'm not saying that's not part of your journey. What I am saying is that everyone, even if it's just a hobby on the weekends, you have something inside of you that is beaming for the world to see. And to deny that is to deny yourself, is to deny the fact that you're connected to source. And I would challenge you to dig into it. There's so much stuff out there that creatively can be done. And there's so much stuff that I don't want to do. So there's certain things that circle around in my brain that I like to do. I like to make people laugh. I like to write. I like to do podcasting. Those thoughts are there for a reason. I don't think about painting. I don't think about playing the guitar.
Just do it.
I don't think about singing. My point is, like, those things aren't meant for me, but someone out there listening, they do think about playing the guitar. They do think about singing. They do think about painting. And if they're not doing it, that thing that is uniquely there inside of them that makes them a unique point of awareness of conscious perfection is being denied. Dig in.
Damn, bro. So same concept. We're going to take the same concept.
Yeah.
They're not tapped into the, the creativity if they want to sing or if they want to do stuff. They come across your information, let's just say on Twitter, and say on YouTube, and they're drawn to it. Because their soul is like, this is what we need to be doing, so I need you to pay attention to this. And now, whether you're gonna do it or not, but it's because think about it. And now you're making me. So thoughts. Who's feeding us the thoughts, right? Now, if you have a suggestion to turn left, right? Is that your higher self telling you to turn left because maybe you need to meet up with somebody who's going to help you become the person you are, but you have to turn left and, brush past that person to have a conversation? Right. All these questions come across from me.
Right. I have a couple shaman friends.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
And to a sort of answer to that question, kind of the same point of reference would be, they would talk about intuition. They would talk about instinct, and they would talk about that when you're truly tapped into that unconscious, which you could be understood as your higher self, is another way to say it. Going left in the moment, being present, you're not even going to think about it because you're just going to do it because you're so tapped into the path forward that you're supposed to be taking, that right in that moment isn't even considered. It's not going to happen. And it's not like you're being controlled, but you're just locked in, and you're instinctually and intuitively back to just your true self. And you don't have doubts. You don't have concerns. You don't have fears. You just have an understanding of where you need to go. So you do it.
Damn. We have free will.
Yeah. Because we don't have to do any of this, man. We don't have to be talking right now. We don't have to be doing it. We can just be doing nonsense. I could be, watching watching a movie or watching the news, being scared. I could be doing anything right now, but I've made the active choice to speak to you, and it feels right. And that's great.
See? Yeah. So, okay. Feeling. Now I'm noticing, especially with, let's say thoughts manifestation. If a thought doesn't feel good, it's, your inner being, your higher self telling you that, it doesn't agree with what you're thinking and you're stepped out of alignment. So if we can take our emotions and use them as a teacher instead of, oh, I'm annoyed, I'm feeling this way, or why am I feeling this way? You have to just use it as a messenger. Something's poking you to saying, hey, something's not right. Let's get it together here.
Right. I think the best example of that is interactions with other people. And it's just like, oh, this person gives me an interesting vibe. Yeah. I don't, even if they're giving the impression that they're what you're seeking, but when you're tapped into, like, when you know who you are, there's you like, you can see, oh, they're coming from this angle, or they're working me for something, it's a different feeling. So I really just think it's about, like, when you start to understand who you are, when you do the inner work and you come to terms with self, that things that are both positive and good, you can just see more clearly. And then, in that moment, and then it's like, it's like always like, I had a bad feeling about that person, and I didn't trust my instincts. You see what I'm talking about? I think part of the game is, it's just simply trusting your instincts, and then you find yourself having less of those afterward statements, because in the moment, where we always are, you actually trust them.
That's so true. I've noticed, like, the more you ignore your intuition, it just makes things difficult. Because then I feel like your team, your spirit guides, your higher self is like, we literally gave you the instruction. You didn't fucking take it. Now you about to learn this lesson you didn't have to learn, just to get to the point that we was trying to show you. So either way, you're getting to point Z. We tried to give you the straight road, but you want to take the zigzags and shit just to get to that straight road. Like, we're trying to make it easier for you, man. Not hard. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
So have you had any, like, well, you just mentioned your spirit guides.
Yeah.
Are you aware of your spirit guides?
Yeah. So I always knew I had a strong team around me. I just feel it. And after I had my DNA activation with the medium I mentioned earlier, just started, like, I started channeling them. So, like, even in my book, I'm the message I'm doing, I'm channeling from them. And then even if I'm just channeling a message for myself or the collective, I had a session with Kara. I think we had a session last week, and she just took my guys Buddha, Ganesh, and just like a whole fucking, and like, have you ever seen the Avatar, like the cartoon?
Yeah.
So you know that part where they show Aang and like the past avatars come up behind them, kind of shit.
Yeah,
That's what it kind of felt like when she said that. It felt like a team of, like, oh yeah, we've been here the whole time. You just gotta say, hey guys, can you help me? I'm like, shit, okay. Well, I need your help. Here we are.
Yeah.
So cool. Bro, one thing that's interesting, man, I have a cat. You guys who watch me, I love you guys, by the way. You might see a random cat, and that's my Lulu. Now, that's my spirit guide, and 100%. I've always felt, because I had her randomly. I never had her as a kitten. She just popped up in my experience randomly, and I always felt like a soulmate connection to it. Now I freaking find out she's my spirit guide. And that's why she sits on my desk every damn day when I'm at work and don't want me to do shit. I'm like, bro, I got work to do. We got cat food to buy.
Pets are magic. And it's very, so that means you probably have connections to, like, Lyrans and all that stuff. That's it's funny because I have a good portion of friends that are like, space is fake, aliens are bunk. And I'm like, cool, that's your right, and that's your
right. That's your right.
You can believe that, and whatever. That's cool. But the beautiful things for me on my journey is the connections I've made with the sky, whatever you want to call it.
Bro,
those are personal experiences.
Yep.
It's personal experiences from people who have no reason to lie to me.
Yep.
And then the big third one is the indigenous cultures and their tales of history that have nothing to do with the Western propagandized recollection of history. Those are three big factors that reconfirm to me that there is more out there, that there are higher dimensional beings, and that it isn't what is, and stuff like NASA. See, that's the funny thing about NASA. It's like NASA exists to make not just the people that want to believe in some form of space out there, like the true believers, like don't want to believe the true narrative of the narrative of COVID that they want to be true, which isn't true. But it's like that, like the video that's circulating now. It's that blow up beach ball of Earth that one of the astronauts is holding on the space station, and then he drops it, and then it floats down to the ground like a slow beach ball would. But there's not supposed to be gravity in space, so that's used as a proof to show that they're lying. But here's where the duality kicks in. It's like they know what they're releasing. That's on purpose. That's for you to feel smart, to say, look, NASA is a lie now. Space is a lie. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to convince you that A, either space is a lie, or B, the space that they present is a lie. And yeah, NASA is bunk and it's pretty trashy, and I don't really believe anything that they put out,
No,
right? But it's duality. It's playing both sides and convincing both
that's
that they are
crazy.
right, so that we get in divide and
That's
conquer, ego,
fucking
all this
crazy.
stuff, and it's hiding what could truly be going out there. What don't they actually want us to see? Why are they selling us that version of space and doing it so
Exactly.
crappily? You got to go deeper. It's not
Bro,
when you think you have it at the surface, you're not there
you're
yet.
not there. Bro, that's why I believe that we're in a dome,
Right.
because there's no aliens coming out of space. We're all interdimensional beings with a
Right.
shift.
Sure.
Okay, with a shift. So my thing, okay, they're talking about aliens a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now, it has to get to a point. Now, either the entire Egypt hieroglyphics and everything are a fucking liar, which we know they're not, because how the hell are you gonna, carve all that into the rocks and shit that accurate and all this? You got to get to a point where you're like, okay, maybe
Right.
some,
But even the
interdimensional being.
even the petroglyphs in Native American and First
Yeah.
Peoples, indigenous cultures, they have all sorts of connections to the star people. So it's globally, the Aborigines do. It's not just what the mainstream is trying to sell us in terms of
Yeah.
aliens. There is
And
a
the fear aspect
yeah,
of it too.
right, right.
That's
What are
so
you
wow.
gonna
So
say?
it's so this okay. So this is my theory. We're all, I know I'm a star seed, but I'm saying we're all aliens, all interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's funny. It's kind of like the duality, the opposite of ourselves is trying to get us to be afraid of ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Go
that's
figure.
fucking wild.
It's the same script from the beginning. The
God
Bible,
damn.
the very start in Genesis, right? So there's the story of the apple, and I view that
Mm-hmm.
as the story of the creation of duality, right? Because there was two characters. There's
Mm-hmm.
God, right? He's the holy
Right.
creator, the good. Then there's the snake, that's the evil, that's the person, that's the trickery, that's the serpent, right? Now,
Right.
what's sprung up there? What two constructs of thought have sprung up from that original story? The first is obviously religion.
Right.
God, man sinned and now needs, to be saved
Right.
because they had the audacity to think that they could be like the gods.
Right.
Gods plural, by the way. It's an interesting little subplot. But but now here's the second construct of thought that has come up from it. It's like, no, the serpent was trying to illuminate people, right?
Oh.
Because it was trying to say, no, you can be like the gods. You just got to eat this thing, blah, 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 right? So there's that construct of
Oh
thought, that too, right?
shit.
But here's the duality. And here's where it's like professional wrestling, right? No, because what that story really did,
Mm-hmm.
it painted a good guy and a bad guy. It gave
Yep.
humans instructions, and it convinced humans that they had to go to a tree, that they had to go to an apple in order to have what was already within.
Damn.
Tree of good of knowledge, good of knowledge and evil,
Yeah.
and you could be like the gods. All of that was already within. And those two characters, Albert Pike, we create both the villains and the heroes, worked to convince humanity that there was some external item outside of ourselves that created the narrative that we
That's
now have to
fucking
exist within.
wild.
No one talks about that.
No one. That's so wild. So you damn, because I'm noticing there's a lot of black and whiteness in terms of
Yep.
division, and then I guess like you said, the intention is to have you look outside of yourself, but also feel inferior so that you forget how powerful you are,
Yep.
and that power is then given to someone else. When you was mentioning about wrestling, Rambo instantly popped in my mind. Shout out to Rambo. I know
Yeah.
you're watching this. He talks about fake realities and fucking and wrestling, and now I'm watching. I can't watch basketball the same no more because I'm like, damn,
Right.
this shit most likely fake, and I don't want to fully accept it yet. I'm probably gonna go down that method.
Right.
But I remember I came across Rambo, Human Vibration, the whole squad, man. We're
Yeah.
building a really sweet community. I'm really grateful for Twitter. And even for meeting you, because I didn't meet you until, if it wasn't for like, seeing you from, Rambo and Human Vibration. I'm just grateful for the whole community. But even I remember when I came across Rambo's content, it was a mind fuck. You talking about the CGI, and you talking about the news being scripted, and I'm like I knew the news is fake, but the
Right.
elements, and it makes sense. If you, for example, here in Chicago, downtown, we have our news theater, but they literally tell you exactly what the fuck they do. They have the green screen, they have the projector with the script. They're telling you this is scripted and this is CGI. They tell you this shit in your face, and I'm like,
yeah, it's when you think like even the Hall of Presidents down in Disney World, and you look at the animatronics, and if you
Yep.
look, people like for a while there, I noticed that like there would always be the news story. It's like, oh, it doesn't really look like Obama.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like Trump. And
Right.
then I realized, oh, I see what they're doing. They make the animatronics not seem like them so that people assume that we can't do animatronics lifelike. See what I'm saying? It's a little trick. It's a
Ooh,
trick to get people to think that's the maximum capability of technological advancement that we
that's
have,
crazy,
so that you can't actually create a quote unquote clone copy, animatronically speaking, of a person. But I'm guessing they
bro.
probably can. You know what I mean?
This whole like the more we dive into this shit, this is literally a matrix, man. Like you can't make this shit up, bro.
Right.
You can't make this shit up. Weather control, fucking mind programming,
Yeah.
MK Ultra, clones,
Yeah.
fucking forcing, Mandela shit. This timeline. It screams Matrix. It fucking
Yeah.
screams Matrix.
So, but and then you can go a little bit deeper. You can be like, all right, if it's screaming Matrix, right?
Mhm.
And I accept that it's Matrix, does that mean I'm manifesting it staying Matrix? Or do I want to
Mm.
reject all of that, not deny that it's happening, but say no more? It's
Mhm.
time, it's going to change, and we're going to be the
Bro.
manifestors that change it. So I think there is an element, and I think that crew, the Realize Rate, and they get a lot of flack for it, and they get called shills and all this stuff because they just want to completely ignore everything at some point.
Mhm.
And I understand it, and I wrestle with it with myself, but it's like, at what point does focusing on the quote unquote matrix just
Right.
overlap and keep giving it power? What
Right.
if,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
how do we get to a point where we acknowledge the reality of what they are attempting, but we no longer give it our attention and
Exactly.
power? And
Exactly.
that's the interesting, mindset that I
Exactly.
even play with my own head. But I think that's where we as a collective should try to
Yeah.
should try to
'Cause
shoot for moving forward.
it makes so much sense. If what you focus your attention on grows and continues to manifest. And so
Yep.
if I'm constantly talking about, let's just say sex trafficking, for example,
Right.
or there's anything, other thing that's horrid, my attention on it is only given that experience
Right.
manifestation. Now, like you said, we're not denouncing that it doesn't exist. We're
Right.
not saying that. What we're saying from that former reality, we
Right.
don't like how it's presently being ran. So from
Right.
this contrast, in my new reality, all the traffickers, for example, are busted and none of this exists. But where I realize where I get flack sometimes is the airy fairy. You're not being realistic, but
Yeah.
don't be realistic.
The
Don't face
idealistic.
reality. Create reality. Don't ever
Right.
face reality. Oh, this happened. Yeah, that it's just like if you're watching TV, you're watching a old episode. It already happened. It's
Right.
same premise. It already happened. You can easily go to the next channel, next episode. You
Right.
just have to choose that for yourself and for that experience.
Right. And that is the contrast. And that's what leads to a lot of discontent, a lot of name calling, a lot of like
Mhm.
shill accusations, controlled op, and all that stuff. Because what you have is you also have this group of the truth community, or those that understand that the world is a lie and all that stuff, who
Mhm.
think that the model forward is still meeting the same energetic level with
Mhm.
the same energetic level, meaning like basically going to war is what we're
Mhm.
talking about, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's like I think Albert Einstein, it's like the quote that has at least been given to him, because then people say he wasn't a thing, and I get that. But besides that, it's like you can't solve a problem with the same level of
You
consciousness that it
can't.
was created from.
Can't.
And that's
Mhm.
hard for a lot of people to take in, because they want to win. They
Right.
want to take it back and be in
Right.
control. But what are you really doing? You're just creating a scenario where it's just a different power structure taking
Yep.
over and continuing on the same game. And then
Yep.
20 years later, we're probably in the same position with
Yep.
new villains that we have to deal with. So how do you
Damn.
deal with it? How do you deal with it truly? How do I deal with it? Well, the only true power that I have is to go within and deal with myself. Because if this
Right.
is a reflection of my world, then there's aspects of myself that needed to be healed. And if everyone did that, guess what? This place changes. So change your immediate world, speak your truth, and be love, and let's see where it goes.
Damn. Now you're gonna have me doing the speak love, and is this from ego mindset? Because it makes so much sense, bro. Is
Yeah.
this thought, or is this podcast I'm putting out? Is it
Right.
helping the collective, or is it continuing an experience that I don't want to experience?
Right. Well, don't stop because of me.
No, 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 no,
I get
no.
what you're saying. I get what you're
But it
saying.
just makes me it makes me conscious now.
Right.
Like I mean, just like
Right.
certain messages, because it's been this whole manifestation thing is just the finite details in every single thing.
Right.
And now I find myself like, if I'm hanging out with some homies and they say some shit like, oh man, I can't afford this, I'll stop you. Like, bro, no, you can't afford it. It's just not a financial priority right now. We can always afford whatever we want. We're just coming from a lack mindset, no one to drop that bread on it.
Yeah. And that's something for me personally that I've had to learn, is this idea of abundance, and to understand, the first thing to do, especially in this game, is to drop the idea of competition. I'm not in competition with you just because you're an author, just because you're a podcaster. No, I'm a beneficiary of your success because I know you and I lift you up and I cheer for you, and I can't wait to shake your hand and say, hey, sign the copy of the book that I bought for you because I believe in you and I know you believe in me. That's a different mindset,
right?
Because it's really like, oh, that person just exploded on Twitter, they just gained 10,000 followers. Oh, that person just got
taken away from me.
Yeah, but it's like, no. It's just, everything's in divine timing. Everything is up to you. And when it's right, it'll happen. Right. If you keep being true to you, the storyline that you wanted, that your higher self asked for, you're going to get. So just enjoy the ride, have fun with it.
Enjoy the ride. Because when you look at it from that perspective, it's kind of like, okay, that person gaining 10K followers and just blowing up, that's taken away from me. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
But think about it. The first millionaire, if that was the premise, nobody else would be a millionaire after the first
exactly.
So it's like,
it's perfect example.
It's like, it's enough abundance to go around this. You know how many damn timelines are out here, and you focusing on, you're operating from a lack one where you're gonna, struggle a bit because you feel like, you aren't deserving of opportunities, or you got to ask yourself, why am I jealous of this person, getting attention to shine? What do I feel? Am I not deserving of that? That's why I'm kind of like jealous of that person. Probably.
Right.
Probably.
And and if you can have an honest conversation with yourself, look in the mirror, then you heal, because no one's perfect. Those things come, they do come, right? But it's like, how do you deal? How do you deal with when those situations come? Do you let it control you, or do you alchemize, use it as a lesson, and transmute? And that's a beautiful thing. And I'd like to think I've gotten better at it. And I would encourage anyone out there, if you have those feelings of jealousy at any moment, pause, say, why am I jealous right now? And then see what happens when you start having a conversation with yourself. It might lead towards healing instead of just more of that same cyclical anger, hurt, jealousy nonsense.
We have to, so when something, like for example, if you asking yourself, why am I jealous of the situation? If you can just come from a standpoint of like, what is this trying to teach me? Or does anything in life, just approach it from what is this trying to show me? You go from that victim to the creator, because everything is divine timing. There's no coincidences. Everything that you've ever fucking gone through, you've always made it out on top. There's not one situation that you can go back on and say, this situation didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
Because the after effect was 10 times better than what you could have imagined, but you have to go through that to get to that.
Yeah, I have a friend, and I love to share this story to other people. It's a short story. He was in jail for attempted murder. No one died, but it was a bar fight, and that person apparently had a good lawyer. So he was up for attempted murder, right? And he told me that the most at peace and free he felt was when he was meditating inside a jail cell alone.
Whoa.
Now the external world would tell you that moment, that situation is like the worst case, nightmare scenario to fear, but he found a way through inner peace in that moment to be completely still and okay with those scary external surroundings.
That's crazy.
So I think that's what we're kind of like circling around.
Yeah.
For myself, and I have, one of my powerful shaman friends, one of the things they've told me repeatedly, especially in 2020, was, Conrad, you have to give up. The first step is giving up all your battles.
That's so
now
true.
That's antithetical to everything we've been taught, especially in a competitive Western civilized culture mindset. No. So that's one of the lessons I've had to learn. To me, anyone out there, I'm not going to give you the answer of what that means, but ask yourself, what would your life look like if you gave up all your battles? And only you know the answer to that question, and only you know what the result would be. So true.
Conrad, I always ask this last question to my guests. What message do you have for humanity at this time?
Woo.
And take your time on that, brother.
Yeah. I guess I'll just kind of recap, some of the sticking points that we focused on. It's, what is your creative truth?
Yep.
Are you actively pursuing it?
Mhm.
And if not, what is preventing that? And
Ooh.
and what do you think waits for you on the other side
Mhm.
if you dive in? That would be my final thought.
Damn. Conrad, this was a powerful ass episode, bro.
I know you. I know you had to do some between things. So sorry. I'm
No, bro,
trying.
this is perfect,
Yeah,
man. Definitely,
yeah,
definitely have to have you on again. This is a lot of fun,
yeah.
guys. For clarification, this is me and Conrad's first time chopping it up, like
Yep.
voice to voice. Bro, I feel like I fucking know you forever. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure we're a part of the same soul family at this point.
absolutely.
It's feel natural, man. You welcome on anytime,
Yeah,
bro.
I'll have when your
Always,
book
always.
when your book's out, let me know so you can
Hell
we
yeah.
can talk
Hell
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, everything. I'm gonna drop Conrad's information, the link below, well, underneath the comments and description and the episode details. As always, you're the creator of your reality. Everything you think, feel, and say shapes everything around you. Before you make a decision, ask yourself: is this from a place of ego or is it from a place of love? Shout out to my man Conrad, man.
That's
Peace,
awesome.
guys.